So you want to hear about barking dog navigators? Let me tell you about it. Now, you know they found gold in the 49. Well, you know what? Up there in the Mendocino coast, they found gold, and it was called redwood. And to get that redwood, well, we had no roads, no railroad. We were isolated, and they had to get up there by ship. And those sailing ships. We had over 250 wrecks along the coast. And sailing ships, they were followed by steam schooners, and steel, well, that preceded the wood. Now, if you're going to go up the coast to be a real barking dog navigator, you had to be in close, and you'd see those cliffs, steep cliffs, and those reefs above water and below water. And then you had to memorize all these points that came out and listen. Oh, maybe there's one spot where the cows would be out there mooing, or the chickens, and the dogs. The dogs were the main ones because every dog was different, had a different bark. And you knew that bark. And if you wanted to make sure, you'd go down and have the cook bring up that pot and that pan, and you bang it, and that dog would sing, and you knew exactly where you were. Now, being a barking dog navigator, those were dog holes. A dog would have to turn sideways to slip in. It was pretty treacherous. Now, got it right there, and it's time for a tour. Oh, and I did not tell you about fog. Now, you had to be in there close to be able to see the land. And the fog comes in, and you got those hidden reefs right in there. You got to know how to read the water, because you had no protection from the storms when the sea would come up. And so what you had to do is you had to do a drop line and see how deep you were, and you had to watch that compass. And you had to listen. You really had to listen because you couldn't see anything. You didn't know what was northeast, south, or west. You had to watch, and you had to trust that compass. And you had to listen. You had to listen for everything on the shore that would tell you exactly where you were, or you would have been one of those 250 wrecks, and you didn't want to do that. Now, you know, it was important to get that redwood to San Francisco because it kept on burning down, especially after that earthquake. But you know, they were isolated. No roads, no railway, nothing. They didn't have the stagecoach, and you had to come by sea. So every time they came up to get the redwood, they got all their supplies and brought the supplies up, but they needed them. Oh, I wanted to mention about the Frolic. And that was the first ship that came up there. And it ran aground down there in Casper. And when they went back, they found, they explored, and they found, and they saw, that's when they first saw the redwoods. And they went back to tell them about it. And when they came back to get their stuff, well, guess what? You know, all the fine china and the silk, it was gone. Because the Native Americans thought they were blessed. Oh, everything was taken and used. All the fine china became beads and fine jewelry. And the silk, wonderful. When we would bring up passengers, and it was quite a trip. When you finally get to Fort Bragg, okay, well, being unloaded, some places you'd have to get on what's called a chute. And it was like a ride in Disneyland. You get on that chute, and it would bring you on this, two people, you could sit on there, and it would bring it right to shore. And quite a ride. And even a better ride than coming up in the ship. Oh, what was it like to be a mariner? Well, you're away from your family a lot. And when you go out there, you don't know if you're going to come back. Because But we didn't have the navigation we have today, and we don't have the weather reports. Wow, my goodness, if red sky in the morning, sailor take warning, and you better take warning, because you might not come back.